I lost my team. Okay, I'm back. I was lagging.
Lagging like crazy.
Oh my god, this is not gonna be fun. Okay, I need weapons first, so I'm escaping. Okay, I can come help now.
Well, if your chance failed here, want to be part of another video, then say subscribe to Pew Lookalike. Alright, I'll see you later if you friend me once I post Joe in my lobby.
Two! Be careful, to my right. Good job. Woohoo! Thank you. It's right next to me. Ya, Rocco, ya. Deja la movedera, papá. Ya, ya, ya. Sí. Te voy a caer coñazo, loco.
Oh, idiota. The left group of lunatics out there, just absolute lunatics, and we're going to get that problem solved. I'm hoping Bill comes back to it.
Could show life on. This is real. NASA just said this.
This very much be the clearest sign of life that we've ever found on Mars.
Used to be filled with water. It's not contain materials typically left behind are living microbes, like organic carbon, iron, and phosphate. We're not 100% sure, but a lot of scientists have reviewed this data, and they say, as of now,
You can't find another explanation.
meaning these could be the fingerprints of microbial life left behind on Mars.
Huge is true.
The next step is they're bringing these samples home for more tests. So if you want to know what happens, breaking news: this image could show life on Mars. This is real. NASA just said this.
This very much could be the clearest sign of life that we've ever found on Mars.
The image was taken last year by this Mars rover, right here, a place that we're pretty sure used to be filled with water, but it dried up over time. The rover took a sample of that rock and found that those tiny leopard spots contain materials typically left behind by living microbes, like organic carbon and sulfur and iron and phosphate. We're not 100% sure, but a lot of scientists have reviewed this data, and they say, as of now,
You can't find another explanation.
meaning these could be the fingerprints of microbial life left behind on Mars.
Huge is true.
The next step is they're bringing these samples home for more tests. So if you want to know what happens, breaking news: this image could show life on Mars. This is real. NASA just said this.
This very much could be the clearest sign of life that we've ever found on Mars.
The image was taken here by this Mars rover, right here, a place that we're pretty sure used to be filled with water, but it dried up over time. The rover took a sample of that rock and found that those tiny leopard spots contain materials typically left behind by living microbes, like organic carbon and sulfur and iron and phosphate. We're not 100% sure, but a lot of scientists have reviewed this data, and they say, as of now,
You can't find another explanation.
meaning these could be the fingerprints of microbial life left behind on Mars.
Huge is true.
The next step is they're bringing these samples home for more tests. So if you want to know what happens, breaking news: this image could show life on Mars. This is real.
Let's see.
NASA just said this.
This very much could be the clearest sign of
Do you need a loan for your business? Well, if you've been around for over a year, I'm about to show you how to get up to $3 million in funding. Sounds too good to be true? Then come closer. I'm about to show you.
Chris Cuomo here. Thank you for joining me at the Chris Cuomo Project. And boy, do we need each other right now. And I don't even think we're sure about why. Charlie Kirk is dead. Charlie Kirk was murdered on a college campus doing in Utah what he thought was part of the answer, which was getting people to prove him wrong, to try to defend or defeat ideas with ideas in dialogue. And he was killed for it. And I don't even think we know what the problem is. I know a lot of people are upset, but a lot of people are upset for very different reasons. And
this is the new me. My new persona, Vision OS 26 for Apple Vision Pro. Yeah, it's not exactly there, but it's looking a lot better than it did before. But man, Vision OS 26, what they've done with this product, if you tried it 5, 6, 7 months ago, maybe a year ago, you're like, I'm not too sure this is for me, right? Because it's expensive, I get that. And it's more of a content consumption device more than content creation. But things are changing in Vision OS 26 in a big way. Let's talk about some of the top line features to know about if you want to revisit this product, or maybe you're a little unsure. This may change your mind. Let's get down to it. So let's talk about the elephant in the room. First and foremost, the new persona. The entire video is not going to be like this, guys. I'm just kind of showing you the beginning of it and the new persona, and then I'll go back to my normal camera. But just to give you an idea of the detail and how much better this looks than the previous persona, man, this is a night and day difference.
And I stopped saying this because our words have power, and when we say something could potentially happen, we almost give it the power to happen. And so I want to be careful with what I say, but we always talk about how this is a war. We talk about how, once we can't win with our words, what Charlie would say is they're going to use violence. So even though we knew that this was a possibility, nobody really thought that this would ever happen like this. Nobody really thought that. Because we're naive. We're naive. We're like, society's bad. These people are shooting up schools and this and that. This stuff happens. It's not going to happen to me. It's not going to happen to Charlie Kirk. It's not going to happen to this. And then when it happens, you can't calculate.
Well, that has never happened before. I guess you could say Charlie broke the internet one more time. 150,000 of you guys were watching, and the system just sort of crashed. And it just really makes me happy that that happened, actually. It was already very difficult for me to do this for a lot of reasons, but I knew it was important because I didn't want the last thing that people had in their minds about Charlie to be the moment he lost his life. That was what was especially hard because he's just had so many amazing moments throughout his career. And as I was saying, I was having this discussion with George this morning, obviously through a lot of tears, about not wanting Charlie's caricature to survive when the actual Charlie Kirk individual, who Charlie Kirk actually is so much more important. The caricature, the cartoon, is that Charlie's this young, smart guy, made a career out of debating college kids, decided not to go to college, started Turning Point USA, and I think a lot of people thought that Charlie must take himself a bit too seriously, and I want you guys to know that that could not be further from the truth. Charlie and me were always laughing. Yes, he was ambitious. Everybody knows Charlie is ambitious. I met him back in 2017 when Turning Point was this very young organization. Nobody knew who I was. Nobody knew who Charlie Kirk was. And Charlie was always wearing these really baggy suits. I mean, they looked like they were hand-me-downs from 3 generations because he was focused on the ideas. He didn't care about his appearance. He was laser focused on what he knew Turning Point could become. Not could become, but would become. He hired me on the spot. We were at this conference in Florida, and he and I used to always say, we never said the rest was history. You know, the rest is history. We say the rest is future. We were totally locked in, and I want you guys to know about our first planning sesh, okay? It was in the middle of Chicago O'Hare Airport. There is this restaurant that's called the Macaroni Grill. And I sat down with Charlie on our first trip together. He flips over this little paper menu as we're waiting for our flight, and he takes out this pen and he just starts drawing a map of what he wants to happen in the future, what the Turning Point organization will become. It was spastic, it was unhinged, it was the absolute best. It was true Charlie. He was a visionary. Charlie was a visionary. If he could envision it, it was going to happen. He knew that, I knew that. And what he had envisioned was for Turning Point USA to become the biggest conservative student organization, not just in the nation, by the way, but in the world. He kind of squabbled and swiveled and wrote that his structure is currently a 501c3. He's sitting there talking to me, here's what we can do in the future, and here's how then I'm going to probably take control of the RNC. And he's 23 years old, right? And he's speaking to me about how he's going to take over the RNC. The person that he adored the most, like really, and never in a million years did he think that he was going to meet him, and of course he did, was Rush Limbaugh. He was really raised on Rush Limbaugh, listening to Rush Limbaugh day in and day out. And he told me through many conversations that if he could have a show like Rush Limbaugh one day, he would be very happy. That was, I think, his ultimate goal, and it happened. We had a bunch of rules. Charlie's rule was never say no to Fox News. So even if the show was at 4 a.m. in the morning, crack of dawn, I cannot tell you guys how many hits we did on Fox News. I'm talking 4 hits a day, up at 4 a.m. for Fox and Friends first, and then doing whatever the evening program was, because he believed this is the way that we're going to get our names out there. You know, we have to work harder. My rule was like, we shouldn't drink. Everybody in politics is drinking, they're drunk all the time. If we're passionate, we have to understand that it's a disadvantage. People are always made weaker. It doesn't make anybody stronger to be drunk after an event. And so we didn't drink. And we had a motto, a couple of mottos, but Charlie's was, we can always outwork our opponents. I can't tell you how many times we looked at each other and we said, we can outwork them. Everyone was bigger than us, but no, not working harder than us. It came really directly from Charlie. It was the thing that he said we could always control, and I totally agree with that. Work ethic meant everything. I think very obvious to everyone, I was the culture, Charlie was the politics. Charlie needed a little bit more culture. I needed to learn the rules of politics. I mean, he could tell you every office in the White House and what this person does, things I'd never even heard before. I was just passionate about Black Lives Matter. I knew it was going to be harmful for Black Americans, and I wanted to share that message. And Charlie showed me how to do that in the best way possible. I learned very quickly with Charlie that politics breeds unnecessary enemies. It is incredibly, it's disheartening industry. You know, you're lucky if you have one friend. You're lucky if you have two friends. There are so many people that will test your character along the way. Like I said, I was a nobody. It's funny going through text messages yesterday, and I'm like, Charlie, my goal is to have 50,000 followers on Instagram. I think you can do it by the end of the year. And after he hired me, he had been working already really hard on doing this campus tour throughout California. He called it the Big Three: UCLA, we're going to Stanford, we're going to do Berkeley. And there was somebody who was a lot bigger than me at the time who was going to be kind of the face of it, because like I said, people were not going to buy tickets to hear me and Charlie Kirk speak. And he had someone that they definitely would hear speak. And for whatever reason, and this was just my luck, Charlie was pumping gas. He was inside the gas station, and I'm sitting in the car, and I see this person. His phone is sitting in the car, and the messages are lighting up on the screen. And this individual saying, "I don't want to do this event with that new girl you hired. Like I don't want to share the stage with her." Essentially, just mean. I'm just mean spirited. No reason. I'm bigger than her. I should do this by myself. And then if she wants to come on and be an auxiliary, that's fine. I don't want to share the stage with her. This newbie. I remember Charlie gets in the car, and he looks at the message, and he looks at me, and he knows I looked at the message. I saw him. I'm like, Charlie, I said, I have no idea like where this is going. Obviously, I understand that the sensible you doesn't want to lose this person on the ticket, that this means a lot to me for a tournament, but you're going to have to learn that you have to make the right decision and not the easy decision. And this is only going to work if we keep making the right decisions, you know? And I could just see the struggle within him, and he did the right thing. He said, okay, if you don't want to do this event with this newbie Candace, then we're not going to do the event, and Candace and I will do it alone. And we did. We went at it alone. Actually, I think for that particular event, Dave Rubin hopped on, and the rest was future. For 2 years straight, Charlie and I flew around the world together on very little sleep. We were always exhausted. I'm not kidding. We took hundreds of flights together. We slept in the crappiest hotel rooms. I mean, walls so paper thin. You just hear everything. And when you're in that capacity with someone 2 years straight, just traveling nonstop, you really get to know them. You really see them in every condition. You start figuring like an old married couple. Charlie, this is not how you pack a suitcase, I say to him. Charlie, you can't just like put your dirty running shoes on top of your clean shirts, okay? You just can't do that. Charlie, you need to eat something, okay? You're running on fumes, you gotta eat something. And this is not a full meal. Back, forth. Charlie, you gotta buy yourself some suits that fit. That conversation, I was like, Charlie, okay, I get it. You're like boy wonder. You gotta buy some suits that fit. I wasn't the only one that was hammering him on that. It was also Don Jr. And eventually him, and I think it was actually him and Eric. You know that you're very aware that your salary comes from donors. He always wanted to be a really good steward of their capital. And then came on Aaron, bought him a gift certificate. It was for his birthday, to a fancy suit to go get fitted. And the rest is future, right? It is so important for me to make sure that you guys understand how absolutely hilarious Charlie was. Charlie was hilarious. Okay, he did not take himself too seriously. He was so good at doing imitations and accents. Any imitation, any accent, he was just on the money. And all we did was laugh. It's all you can do is laugh. People were just so crazy all the time. I was reading through the chat today. I was just laughing with just tears in my eyes, thinking of the many road trips that we took, so many hours spent just talking trash to one another, making fun of one another. One of the best moments that I can think of, and there's so many to choose from, was we were driving through Colorado, and I put on a Kanye song, and Charlie goes, "Is this Jay-Z?" I almost made him pull over the vehicle. I was like, "Are you kidding me? Okay, I understand that you don't do culture, but like, come on, you don't know the difference between Jay-Z and Kanye," and he didn't. And I explained to him the difference. I was like, "Okay, you gotta get into some Kanye West music." Next thing you know, Charlie's really getting into some Kanye West music. He's running 10 miles a day. He got really into running. And he's texting about how big it is. Like, there's this text, Charlie. He's like, yes, it's my new favorite song. And he just loved it. Kanye's Power kind of became our theme song for the tour. But that was our hype song before we went off stage. So you can only imagine when just a couple of months later, we've been listening to Kanye's the excitement. Okay, we were certain that we had manifested it. We were 100%. We manifested this by listening to Power on repeat. Actually, I found a clip of us backstage on that day when that happened, and we were doing what I used to refer to as the Charlie dance. Here it is. The era of Kanye, I can't even explain it because you really did have to be there. Charlie was my overly bright and sometimes really annoying kid brother. I was smiling going through my chat of how many times he would text me a picture and say, "Does this look cool? Does this look cool? Do I look cool?" This is like just a screen recording of us talking about a pair of sunglasses. He just sent it to me and I'm like, "Nah, that's not good. No, that's not. No, send. Okay, that one's okay. That'll work." And this is actually one of my favorite photos of him where he said, I could just hear him when I look at this photo. I could hear him saying, "Does this look cool?" He was wearing a pair of Yeezys that Kanye gave him, and he looks really cool. I thought it really suited him. I was like, "Yeah, you look really cool, Charlie." The reverse of that, obviously, was him constantly hammering me on debates. I mean, Charlie was like, "Look, you gotta know the arguments of your opponents backward and forward." I remember I had note cards like I was in high school, just memorizing every statistic and being strengthened by, just day in and day out. He was just pretending to be a protester, pretending to be a radical. And he used to always say, "Iron sharpens iron." And we spent so much time practicing debating and really thinking through what our ideas were. Charlie never missed a meeting that he had. He wouldn't do that. He took that very seriously. It doesn't matter what the circumstance was, even if it was a hurricane. And one day there was literally a hurricane. I think we were in North Carolina, South Carolina, I don't remember. But all the flights got canceled and needed to be in D.C. by morning. And Charlie looks at me, he's like, "We got to rent a car. We got to drive 8 hours." Totally insane. And one of the most fun road trips I've had in my life. Every single song was sung. Me and Charlie were always in cars. To show you, this is from that road trip.
It was fucking 31.
And then, of course, there was always some hip hop mixed in.
31. That's so painful. Who was 31? The guy that got killed. He was gonna be the next president of the United States, man. That's the worst part. I voted for Trump because of him, pretty sure. I watched it so many times. Where is he going?
Is the door open? Leave the door open. He wants to go pee.
He's been open since when?
No, for now. He's like, I heard him downstairs. Oh. Come here, Poppy, go pee-pees.
I can put him down downstairs.
Yeah. Go pee-pees. Oh, let's go pee-pees. Look. Come. Here. Come. Watch. Look. Go down. Go pee-pees. Go. Good boy. Fire. Very fast, Lunch, okay? Leave the door open so he can come back. Huh?
You want to help me with this too? Oh. Oh. Yes. That was tough. Ooh, that was very tough. Woo. He's upstairs. He's very good at coming back up, which I love. Like, he knows he's only going to go pee-pees and pee-pees. Need a new wig. I need a new wig. Because this one's already falling apart. It's all of the ATH. Oh, third. Oh my god, all of it. $7,000.
God.
To
the driver?
No, to the Arabic guy. How come you get here and the flies all of a sudden show up?
Don't speak.
I had no flies all in. Literally, no flies. Well, go with your sweetness somewhere else.
Sweet. I said no, not sick.
You know what I'm saying? Go with your sweetness somewhere else. You don't want the flies. Since you moved here, when you moved in, the first thing I told you is, I don't want the flies in the summer. I'm allergic as fuck. I get sick. That's probably why I'm having diarrhea every fucking day.
Good of me.
Huh? No. What do you do? You already ate. Little piece of shit. Last night they didn't let me sleep at all. Rocco has been so annoying during nighttime.
You said the design of my website?
Yeah. But I don't really like them.
What one?
I got two. I think I did, but I didn't like them. I have them here. I was going to send them to you, but I couldn't. What was the name? You see the thing that I sent you about Catalina Island? You don't want to go?
Same day at my party.
Same day after what?
Same day at my party.
What party?
My party when I make Portugal.
So you're gonna be home because then that case.
No, my party starts at 3 o'clock. Not gonna be home.
I want to go to Catalina. You want to see the guy downstairs on stage? I didn't like it either, to be honest.
Where's the picture? The back signage?
It's there. It's on the side. In terms of colors and like that.
Well, this no, but this one. The blue.
I don't like either. See, this I saw, and this made me change my point of view on Trump a lot. 20 people conservative, 20 people like Kamala lovers, and it's him. And he just shut everybody up.
Was it change your idea about?
He was amazing. Because he was amazing explaining the facts. Not,
Yes, how to change your idea from negative to positive.
no, positive. He made me look at like
But
I was a Biden supporter. I voted for Biden at first. I didn't want Trump. When Trump got out and Biden won, I was so happy. And then when I started experimenting Biden, I was like, wow.
How will we be able to offer the pricing on set for just $295 at Living Spaces? Redesigned furniture with affordable, durable, stylish materials. We build the products ourselves and source directly from the factory to keep costs low while maintaining a high level of quality. It's important for us to cut out as many middlemen as possible so we can be flexible and pass on incredible savings to you and even offer free shipping as soon as next day so you can enjoy your dining set instead of just tomorrow with prices as low as this. Imagine what other deals you'll find only at Living Spaces.
Living Spaces. Well, folks, the situation in North Carolina continues to percolate in a horrifying situation over this just dramatically evil stabbing of Irina Zarutska, of course, the Ukrainian refugee who was riding the light rail and was stabbed to death by a 14-time offender named DeCarlos Brown Jr., who had a significant mental disorder, violent schizophrenia. The reason that this continues to be in the news, not just because of all of the issues that you would expect, the media's willingness to ignore the actual story because, after all, the racists don't match up with their preferred racial narrative. Not just because the footage is so horrifying. But there's another aspect of it that is now
I think this is
grabbed
what I
public attention, and that is the horrifying tragedy of the fact that as this crime went down, nobody was. If you go all the way back to 1964, there's a very famous case from Queen of the Kitty Genovese case. In that case, allegedly, there was a woman.
Apparently, Jerry Seinfeld's parents were probably Muslims, and they told him to hate Palestinians, and that murdering them was a great thing to do. And terrorism was awesome as long as Israel does it. And then, but if anyone else is fucking trying to ruin their life, all the Klan members have been arrested, fired, destroyed that, and then you go.
Like I showed you, 3 things.
God damn it.
No, I want to
damn it.
And I want the
Why did you turn it
TV under it.
disgusting?
Don't choose things like, you know, like I want to
Muslim lives matter. Is that a bare minimum? Bare minimum.
You know,
And you can't do goddamn bare minimum. Right? And unfortunately now, Israelis
that's easy. I want to find it easier. You know, the TV under it. The horses under it.
There's nothing to do here.
I don't want it this way. I want the way I want it.
When you say that, you're admitting you're
This is not a design that this is not a design that I like for your design. Your design is just like what you see on the website is just a skeleton. That doesn't have anything of branding, anything absolutely anything. Like not everything is done with like generic, the same as Super Mario Bros. You understand?
With Jeffrey Epstein.
You don't understand.
Britain's ambassadors to the United
That one is generic. Like all the boxes, all the squares.
To be
This
Britain's
one,
ambassador to
it's a
the United
dedicated website
States. Just been fired
exclusively
from that
for
position
that.
after the true extent
It's not
of
a cookie
relationship
cutter
with
website.
child sex.
You want to have it? I can leave it in that same order, right? I just change colors and that's it. It's less work for me, fine. But it's not well done.
And Epstein.
I don't want you to come at me and then tell me you didn't do something good. You knew. And I didn't know. You didn't tell me. No, I'm telling you, that's not
I am the one who asked you to.
Okay, well,
see more. You know, 3 keys. The thing under it and the listing under it.
You're very repetitive because you're coming into the website. If I have to go down to see the video, and then as I see the video, if I have to go down and first I have 3 buttons, chances are I'm gonna go press the button before seeing the video.
Of that relationship,
right? Then the horses that is in the bottom are not going to be seen whatsoever because they're not featured.
No, because
they're not going to feature.
No, because they have to the filter. If they want to filter, they filter.
Then you're asking the person to go and search more into the filters to find what they're looking for.
I want the thing to be as simple for a dumb person.
Strategy. Remember the fight I wore.
Don't find this any difficult at all.
No, it's not. It's not.
After Epstein was convicted of soliciting sex from.
Yeah, what's the difference?
The thing is here, like, you want to like buy, sell, like it's like small buttons. Here you have horses for free, using options. Why cannot I give you the 3 choices?
Curious about what has
Why would you
happened.
press this button?
I can still barely understand it.
Browse
It just could not happen.
What does it say?
Browse listing.
Okay, so where did that go?
If that's true, I don't believe it.
Yeah.
But
No, where goes that? If you're gonna browse the listing, where are you going?
Down.
Not down. You're gonna go to see the pages of the horses, right? So that's buy horses.
really go for it.
So you have buy horses, then again you have buy horses, which is your main
Oh, I'm sorry. I
product, your
skipped
main
it.
thing.
My bad.
Then you have leasing or sell horses. We can put it there too. Obviously, I think that it's right there in the bottom. No?
Strange
I have that one.
connections to former President George W. Bush. So
It's the same thing.
2008,
You just have it. You just have it.
I want the generic. I want the generic and dumb. I want like super dumb, easy. People can. It's like I want the website super easy to
from his
click.
legal
Boom.
difficulties.
You know, I mean, click your horse, open application. You want to sell a horse, open application, fill an application, I'll fill it for you. You want to lease a horse, you have the horse for lease.
Really go for it on your friend now that his case.
I want him to catch and interrogate him and say that he has something to do with Clinton or with the Obamas.
Watching on a California drive to about 15 years, it's not expected of them church. Drive them to 15 millimeter pictures. The FBI agencies say that it's confident they will track down Turk searching and kill him.
Authorities now say they have some key source of evidence to suggest we saw models.
You smoked the whole house. Please.
They are releasing these pictures today and someone was calling a person of interest in connection with the national conservative political activist Charlie Kirk, suspected shooter still at large. Authorities say today they've been able to track the movement of the suspected shooter on campus through the stairwell up to a roof where investigators say they saw him help stand around.
I was trying to track the demons.
Look!
It's been nearly 24 hours since the shooting happened. The manhunt, though, continues for this killer. We're expecting to get another update from authorities in about 30 minutes or so. We begin our team coverage with NBC4's Conan Nolan. He's live from...
I can't believe you're
I do want to share with our viewers here some video and some sound of now the late Charlie Kirk speaking to this group.
Two hours ago. Listen, to be fucking 31 and have the president mourn your death and have your body be transferred, fucking, what's the name? The presidential plane, it's just already crazy to me. She's growing on me. I'm liking her more and more. This girl, this lady. I saw like 3 recipes and I actually like them. I was like,
I'm in my 70s and I thought it was too late to build muscle, but then I discovered a simple biohack that triggers your body to make new.
Over the course of 21 days, I stayed at 21 of the most talked about hotels on the Las Vegas Strip, and now I'm going to break it all down. I'm moving from the south end of the Las Vegas Strip to the north end, giving you rapid-fire 1-minute looks at each stay. The good, the bad, and the stuff no one tells you about. And somewhere in here is a hotel I would absolutely stay at again, and one I would never book twice. Can you guess which ones they are? Stick around to the end to find out. Alright, first up, Mandalay Bay. You've probably seen that giant gold tower from half a mile away. But is it really worth staying here? I stayed in a basic king room, and honestly, I was impressed by how bright and modern it felt. The bathroom was clean, but pretty standard, nothing special. The real star of Mandalay Bay is the pool area. This place feels like you're at an actual resort. You've got a wave pool, a lazy river, and lounge chairs set in sand. If you're coming for pool time, this is probably one of the top 3 places on the strip. But keep in mind, the location is way. It had a younger, upbeat energy without feeling overwhelming. I actually enjoyed the atmosphere. Overall, I really enjoyed my stay at Mandalay Bay, despite it being on the south end of the strip. Alright, let's move north. Next up is Luxor, the giant black pyramid you can't miss on the south end of the strip. Checking in here feels like stepping into a theme park. The massive atrium with the ancient Egyptian statues and that beam of light shooting up into the sky at night makes this one of the most recognizable hotels in Vegas. I booked into the most basic room you can get, and while it was clean and tidy, it was definitely showing its age. The bathroom was small, the shower was old looking, and the furniture was starting to see a little bit of wear. The pool area was actually pretty decent for a budget hotel. It was big enough that you could usually find a spot, and it had that same Egyptian theme carried on outside, which was a nice touch. Despite some of its drawbacks, there is a certain charm that does keep people coming back. And it's always in the conversation when you're comparing budget hotels on that part of the strip. Speaking of which, let's jump over to our next hotel. The Luxor is right next door to the Excalibur, the medieval castle that looks straight out of the storybook. I booked in a basic king room here to see what it was like as one of the more budget-friendly options on the strip. And my first impression was that the lobby was lively, and the theme was fun, but it was a bit dated, and the price was hard to beat, but the room itself was only moderately clean and very basic. And the bathroom felt cramped and definitely overdue for a renovation. The pool area, however, was actually pretty solid, big enough so that you never felt crowded, and the castle turrets around it made it feel really cool as a backdrop if you're just hanging out in the sun. One thing I did like about the Excalibur was the Tournament of Kings dinner show. Now, that was actually quite an experience and something I'd recommend you check out at least once. Between the Excalibur and the Luxor, you've got 2 of the cheapest ways to stay right on the strip. And I'm curious, if you stayed at either of these, which do you prefer? Let me know in the comments. Personally, I'd pick the Luxor if I had to choose. The rooms there felt a little fresher and the overall atmosphere was a little more interesting to me. Moving north, let's talk about New York, New York, a place that feels like a mini Manhattan smashed into the strip. I stayed in one of their basic king rooms, which turns out to be surprisingly tight. The bathroom was easily the smallest I saw during the entire 21-night stay on the strip. On the plus side, the theme here is really well done. The pool area is decent. It's not huge, but it is a nice spot to cool off if you need a little break from the casino. The casino floor felt a little cramped to me compared to some of the larger properties, but the location is great. You're across from MGM Grand and right next to Park MGM, so it's easy to explore. Overall, I'd say New York, New York is all about atmosphere. If you love themed hotels, this is one to check out. Next up is MGM Grand, one of the biggest resorts on the strip and a spot that really leans into that classic mega resort feel. My room there was pretty basic, and honestly, it felt a bit dated. The tub in the bathroom was so tiny, it almost looked like it belonged in a kid's playhouse. But the real standout for MGM Grand is everything outside of the room. The pool complex is massive. There's a lazy river, multiple pools, and tons of space to stretch out. If pools matter to you, this place is definitely a contender. The casino floor is also sprawling. You've got lots of table games, slot machines, a poker room, a sports book, basically everything you're going to want, plus a lively energy that's hard to match. Overall, MGM Grand is a bit more of a property that's more about the amenities and the atmosphere rather than the rooms themselves. If you want a big resort with lots going on, it's worth a look. Right next door is Park MGM, which feels like a totally different world compared to MGM Grand. I booked in a basic 2-queen room with a strip view. The room itself was clean and modern, but on the smaller side, and the bathroom was pretty tight, although it did have a nice walk-in shower. The pool area is on the smaller side, but they do have 3 pools, and one of them is a 21+ pool. So overall, it's actually not a bad pool area. One of my favorite things here is that Park MGM is a completely smoke-free casino. The casino doesn't smell of cigarettes, which makes it feel a lot fresher than most places. The food scene is also a huge plus here too. There's Eataly, this massive Italian marketplace, and tons of other options. Overall, if you want something modern and low-key and smoke-free, Park MGM is a solid pick. Next up is the Aria, which looks like the blueprint for sleek, modern Las Vegas. I stayed in a corner suite, fancy on paper and mostly lived up to the hype. Sure, when I first walked in, there was a bit of a stale smell and there was some cleaning rags, and they put me on the 3rd floor, which is the lowest possible floor, but all that faded away pretty quickly. Once I settled in, I started to appreciate what makes this place special. The bathroom was standout. Double sinks, a soaker tub with its own TV, and a separate bidet-equipped toilet, which if you've never used one of those, it'll change your life. The pools are beautiful. There's lots of greenery and plenty of spots to relax, and the location is right on the center strip. It's perfect if you want to explore. The casino floor here is a decent size and really upscale. A lot of newer slot machines and plenty of table games, although they did have higher minimums than you'd find at older properties. They also have a really nice poker room. If you're into food, they also had some of the best pho I've tried on the strip so far at Lemongrass. Overall, the Aria delivered, and I definitely come back to this spot. Next up is the Cosmopolitan, one of the most iconic properties on the strip, and honestly one that feels like it was designed for a good time. I booked in a terrace one-bedroom suite here, and the room itself was modern and clean and split into a spacious lounge and a bedroom. The bathroom layout was a little unconventional, with the tub and shower connected behind glass. But I actually liked it. It felt different, but in a good way. The energy throughout the whole property is young and lively, and they have 2 pools at the Cosmopolitan. The Boulevard pool, which was packed and alive with music, while the Chelsea pool was a bit more laid back if you want something a bit calmer. For food, there are lots of options at the Cosmopolitan, but I was staying there on a Friday night and I made no reservations, so I ended up going to the food hall and trying out Lardo's hot sandwiches. I got the burger and dirty fries, and it was exactly what I needed. If you're the kind of person who wants a high-energy atmosphere, a balcony with a view, and tons of dining options without leaving the building, the Cosmopolitan has exactly that. By the way, if you want more detail on any of these hotels,
Cosmopolitan was my favorite from all of
Huh?
I'm a little bit later.
Which I'm going, so go now to because
No, you go now and then I go.
I'm gonna go now. Huh? I'll just eat. I'm not gonna go now.
No, either.
What the heck is going on with Vision Quest in the MCU? So, Vision Quest is going to be the last MCU show before everything going on in Doomsday and Secret Wars. With
Ralph's shoppers get
The industrial grade products you need, all in one place. Call, click, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I think the pursuit of excellence in work and life means to me. Depending on me.
Apple's Vision Pro headset has been around for weeks now, and Meta's Mark Zuckerberg just appeared on Instagram to talk about how the Quest 3 compares to the Vision Pro. I bet you know his answer, but I've been looking at these headsets for a while, and I've worn the Quest 3 for quite a long time. So how are these different? Which one is better? I can help you with that. First of all, portable. Plus, these conceptually do similar things. How they execute them is pretty different. These are both VR headsets with mixed reality capabilities. Apple wants you to think about the AR side of things. Meta wants you to think about VR and AR, but they both work by using external cameras that show past. They might. And this one's like a bat-based dancing one.
So I was getting a lot of comments saying, oh, well, you can do all this with the Quest 3. It's only $500. So I want to show you a little bit of a review of the interface and try and do similar things with the Quest 3. Here you can see that it does do a good job with the finger tracking, hand tracking, keeping that window in place. And here I'm trying to just show different tabs that can be open in their browser. Now it is the Quest browser, which is a little bit different, but that's fine. Try and do some kind of voice dictation right here, and I kept having trouble actually, so I tried a couple times, and then here I'm just going to the keyboard to try to type and still having a few issues. The typing though, I mean, across both devices is not great. What's interesting is you can see a lot of that distortion in the pass-through around my hands. And here I'm just trying to go to Google News to show you. I'm trying to drag and there you go. Now we're back in the Vision Pro. I'll show you kind of a similar workflow that you might want to do, just like what I showed you in the Quest 3. So let's go ahead and open Safari. Here it is. I got my email up right here. It's just much easier to move it anywhere I need it to be instead of just those 3 tabs. So let me move this back here. I'll make a new tab. This is something I was looking at earlier. Bring that out right here. Also, we want to do one more and show you that typing again. So we want to go to Google News. Now, to me, that felt a lot smoother. Maybe I'm just not as much used to typing with the Quest 3, but there you go. And again, moving anything, anywhere I want it to be, just much more kind of free flowing. And then environment, which I don't think you can do with the Quest 3. So that's the difference, and that's kind of what you're paying for
When my team pitched the idea, I thought it was impossible. A pattern that sears like stainless, lasts like cast iron, and doesn't use toxic coatings.
We begin tonight with breaking news on the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Good evening, everyone. I'm Elizabeth Vargas. An urgent manhunt is underway at this hour for the sniper who shot and killed Kirk at Utah Valley University yesterday afternoon. We were expecting a press conference from the FBI earlier today, but it was postponed because of, quote, rapid developments. We do not yet know what those developments are, and when that press conference happens, we will take you there live. As of now, the FBI is asking for help to identify this person of interest. They're offering a $100,000 reward for information leading to his arrest.
He is believed to be college age, which helped him blend in with all the students in that crowd of 3,000 people at Kirk's event yesterday. Authorities say they have tracked the suspect's movements and they are now analyzing shoe prints as well as a palm and forearm print that he left behind.
We were able to track the movements of the shooter. Starting at 11:52 a.m., the subject arrived on campus, shortly away from campus. We have tracked his movements onto the campus, through the
It's just gotten too expensive to eat out. Chipotle is one of the popular places, and I just cannot afford to take my family to eat there. So we are going to create the Chipotle bowl experience at home for way less money. Oh, yeah. Juicy. I'm going to show you the 3 most popular items that you can recreate, and they are going to be exactly the same, if not a little bit better, probably a little bit better than the OG. Right.
Probably a little better.
I'm giving you copycat Chipotle chicken, cilantro lime rice, and the Chipotle honey vinaigrette. And a couple of bonus items along the way. Yesterday, I had to do a little research. If I'm trying to recreate, got to do my research. I got the chicken burrito bowl. I like that they use thigh meat. It's just simple, clean, simple, but expensive. Don't taste that much Chipotle. I would like a little more kick. I think I could do one better. Let me get some research. That bowl, which was a really hearty portion, was over $13. These groceries are roughly about the same amount. We can do this on a budget. I'm going to start with the chicken and get it marinated. If my family of 5 went to Chipotle, we're looking, I'll just got garlic in there.
What you doing, Zach? My T-Mobile home and
When she arrived, she seemed quite scared and she wanted her mom. Pika was sitting in the window, but it's a part of their natural behavior. They'll suckle on their moms to get the milk. It was a sign that she missed her mother and she was looking for her.
We got a call from somebody that worked at a aquaculture farm. And Pika was stuck on top of an oyster trestle bed. It was surrounded by heavy machinery, probably scared away the mother.
We gave her a wetsuit mom, which basically is recycled wetsuit all kind of packed together and resembles a mother seal. She cuddled up to it. She was fast asleep, cuddled into the wetsuit mom.
The ultimate goal was to get her healthy and to get her up to weight so that she could be released back into the wild and flourish as a wild seal.
We're gonna pour in the fish fryers. We started fish school. Pika surprised us all and was one of the first common seals to start eating, despite being the smallest.
So funny to watch me.
At the start, she was quiet, but once that kind of settled down, she let us know that she was feistier. Everybody has to be careful of Baby Pika. Baby Pika would know when you were coming to clean. She loved her bathtub and she didn't like anyone else near the bathtub. When I was trying to clean her bathtub, she was slapping the brush. And then she would bark. The flippers were going everywhere. She would spit at you, she would slap her belly to tell you to go away. That's what we want to see in our seals. It just shows that they're becoming more wild, so they're stay away from me.
But that meant that she really had that fighting spirit. Seeing that shows us that she can compete well in the wild, and we felt confident in putting her on the pool deal.
On September 13th, stream the historic concert celebration live from Vatican City with Pharrell Williams and Voices of Fire, Andrea Bocelli, Karol G, and John Legend. Grace for the World, exclusively on Disney.
As humans, it's hard for us to make sense of life. It turns out your dog has a reason for those weird behaviors. In this video, we will talk about your dog is trying to cover up its urine and feces. It isn't. By scratching the ground, your dog is releasing the pheromones located in the scent glands of their feet. This is the main way your dog marks its territory. Your dog wants other dogs to know that this is his area. Number 39. Why dogs tilt their head. A new study published in the journal Animal Cognition found that dogs tilt their head when they are intently listening. The adorable gesture is related to increased attention. So, when your dog looks at you attentively while tilting their head, they are probably trying to absorb every word. Number 38. Why dogs follow you around the house. Dogs are pack animals. When they are in the wild, they do everything together, and they are loyal to the pack. These social animals went from being wolves living in packs to dogs living with humans. Dogs follow you around because it's their instinct to want to be with you and do things with their family. Another reason your dog wants to stay close to your side is positive reinforcement. If every time you are with your pup, they get affection or treats, they're likely to follow you around more often. Number 36. Why dogs hump. When dogs hump, it is not necessarily a sexual activity. Humping can occur when dogs are overexcited. It's a playful behavior that dogs do to release some energy because no one has told them that it's not acceptable. When a pillow or stuffed animal are the objects of your dog's affection, there's a good chance the dog has simply gotten excited and overstimulated. Interestingly enough, dogs also hump other dogs and people to express dominance. Your dog wants to show your guest or another dog which pet rules the house. Number 35. Why dogs jump on you. Dogs often jump on people as a way to greet them and show excitement. It's their way of saying hello and trying to get closer to your face. Number 34. Why dogs stretch when they see you. Similar to humans, dogs stretch to warm up their muscles. But you may have also noticed that dogs often stretch their front legs when you come home or when you pick up the leash to take them for a walk. This is because your dog is excited and they are getting themselves ready to have fun and play. Number 33. Why dogs stare at you so intently. Dogs are naturally attached to their owners, and they take an interest in what their favorite humans do. Watching people is how they gather information about our actions. Dogs also stare to get signals as to what is happening next. Essentially, they are waiting for us to do something that will impact them, like picking up the leash to take them for a walk, or to perform a specific command like sit and earn a reward. Dogs also stare to manipulate their owners to get what they want. This is a common scenario with begging at the dinner table. Of course, plenty of dogs stare is simply out of an expression of love. Research has shown that this nonverbal way of communication increases levels of the love hormone called oxytocin in dogs. Number 32. Why dogs twitch in their sleep. Dogs dream during the REM stage of sleep, and those twitches are responses to whatever's happening in their dreams. Number 31. Why dogs sniff each other from behind. When dogs sniff each other from behind, they are trying to gain information about the other dog. Dogs have anal sacs in their rear end that release chemicals and scents that tell a lot about their body to other canines. Scents in this area can provide information about their gender, temperament, reproductive status, diet, and health status. The chemical scent also helps the dog know if they have met that particular dog before, or if they are strangers. Number 30. Why dogs sniff people's crotch. Dogs sniff people's butts for the same reasons they sniff each other's bums. The crotch area has a certain type of sweat glands called apocrine glands, which produce chemicals that convey social information. These chemicals are called pheromones. Pheromones carry all sorts of information about the age, health, sex, and mood of the individual. When dogs smell a person's crotch, they are trying to gain information about that person. Number 29. Why dogs kick when you scratch their belly. Have you ever noticed that when you scratch your dog's belly, they start kicking their back leg? This movement is an involuntary reaction called scratch reflex. When you scratch a dog's belly, you activate the nerves under the skin that are connected to their spinal cord. These nerves send a message to your dog's leg muscles to kick and twitch in an attempt to get rid of an irritant. This is what causes a dog's legs to start involuntarily jerking. Number 28. Why dogs bring you gifts. If your dog brings you a gift, like a shoe or their favorite toy, it means they love you. This is because most dogs are possessive of their belongings. When your dog offers to share something with you, they're signaling that they fully trust you. Number 27. Why dogs lick you. Dogs may lick you for a lot of reasons. They may want to show you affection and love. They may even want to groom you to show you that they care about your well-being. And if you have the taste of some yummy treats on your skin, then your pet may have another motive for their licking behavior. Number 26. Seeking approval. If you've ever gotten the feeling that your canine is trying to get your approval, you're probably right. Your dog values your opinion, and they love to get approval from you. For example, if they are walking on or off a leash, they might glance back in your direction to make sure you're still there and approve of their behavior. Number 25. Why dogs howl. Dogs howl to attract attention, to make contact with others, or to announce their presence. Dogs may also howl because they are responding to ambulance or police sirens. Believe it or not, these noises are on the same frequency level as their hearing. So when a dog howls at a siren, they are simply responding to their fellow helpers. In other words, howling acknowledges that they hear the sound and express their readiness to respond or desire to join in the action. Number 24. Destructive behavior. Dogs who exhibit destructive behaviors, such as tearing up furniture or carpet, are often doing so because of stress, separation anxiety, or boredom. Dogs are pack animals. Some dogs feel extremely anxious when they are left alone without their human, and they chew to relieve the stress of separation anxiety. Dogs with high energy levels may also engage in destructive behaviors if they don't have an outlet for their energy through exercise and play. On the other hand, young puppies who are teething often chew on things to relieve sore gums and soothe their teeth. Number 23. Why dogs nuzzle you. You're sitting on the couch watching TV, and all of a sudden, your dog gives you a nuzzle. Nuzzling is when your dog pushes or rubs their nose, face, or head against you. More often than not, dogs touch their nose or face on you when they want your attention. Your four-legged friend probably wants to be pet or spend some time with you. Dogs also nuzzle to show affection and love. Number 22. Why dogs pant. More often than not, dogs pant to cool themselves down. Unlike humans, dogs aren't able to regulate their temperature using sweat, so instead, they pant to circulate cool air through their bodies. Dogs may also pant when they're feeling stressed or anxious. You often see this type of panting during visits to the vet, during thunderstorms, or when fireworks are going off outside. Interestingly enough, panting is also a normal behavioral response when something exciting happens, like meeting new people, or when you pick up the leash to take them for a walk. It's also known as play panting, and dogs make this sound when they're especially happy. Number 21. Why dogs chase their own tail. When a dog is stressed or bored, they might decide to start a game of catch the tail to amuse themselves or release all that pent-up energy. That's why puppies chase their tails more often than adult dogs. They have tons of puppy energy to release, and that wagging tail looks a lot like a toy. Number 20. Why dogs lick your face. Does your dog try to lick your lips or stick out their tongue to taste your breath? Sometimes they do it because they want the food crumbs. Other times, it's about gathering information, like what you just had to eat. Dogs rely heavily on their sense of smell and taste to understand their surroundings. Interestingly enough, your dog's face-licking behavior is part of its survival instinct too. For example, when wolves return to their pups after a meal, they regurgitate meat from the hunt. The pups, too young to hunt on their own, will lick the meat from around the mother's mouth. It is believed by some that this licking behavior has been passed down in the DNA, causing dogs to instinctively do it sometimes. Of course, dogs also lick you to groom you and show you affection. Number 19. Why dogs wink at you. If you notice your dog is winking at you, they're not flirting with you. More often than not, dogs wink when they have some irritants in their eye. The irritation may be from a physical item such as dust, dirt, hair, or even cleaning sprays. If this happens to your dog a little too often, make sure to take them to a vet for a checkup. Number 18. Why dogs get the zoomies. Some dogs get very hyperactive when they have been in stressful situations. They might start running erratically, also known as getting the zoomies, as a way of blowing off that stored up stress. These dogs may look like they're having a great time, but they are often overwhelmed and trying to diffuse or avoid the situation that is making them feel uncomfortable. You often see your dog getting the zoomies when they've been confined in a crate for some time, or after a bath. Number 17. Why dogs eat poop. Dogs want clean spaces to play and live as much as you do, and their most obvious way to rid the environment of waste is by eating it. When a mother gives birth to her puppies, they don't know anything about using the bathroom, so a mother will eat the puppy's feces to keep their den clean. If your dog eats the poop of other species, it may be because they want to obtain key nutrients. The stool of other animals, such as horses, contains enzymes and partially digested protein, which can be beneficial for a dog's digestive system. But remember, some dogs eat their own poop because of environmental stress or anxiety. Studies have shown that dogs who are kept alone in kennels or basements are more likely to eat poop than those dogs who live close to their people. Number 16. Why dogs lick their paws. Dogs typically lick their paws as part of self-grooming. But if your dog licks their paws too much or begins licking suddenly and only on one paw, you may want to take a closer look at their paws. Your dog may have irritated their paw by stepping on something sharp, walking on a hot sidewalk, or getting a blister. Excessive paw licking could also be due to food allergies or parasite infections. Number 15. Why dogs dig. Dogs dig in your yard for several reasons. They may be burying toys or bones to keep them protected from other predators. They may also dig to lie in the cool dirt and cool themselves off on a hot summer day. Pregnant dogs may dig a hole as a nesting instinct to make a home for their pups, but more often than not, dogs dig to alleviate boredom, burn off extra energy, or just for fun. Number 14. Why dogs eat grass. Dogs eating grass is actually quite common. More often than not, dogs eat grass as a way of getting more fiber, which helps them digest their food and keep their GI systems healthy. Eating grass is also a dog's way to relieve upset stomachs. In some cases, dogs may eat grass because they simply enjoy the texture and taste